GTA 4 was released over 17 years ago, and for a 2008 game, the visuals are still absolutely stunning. But iCEnhancer 4 really steps it up and makes it feel like a whole new experience. iCEnhancer 4 is an ENB graphics mod made by iCELhancer and Krystaling. It was officially released to the public in 2025. You might be familiar with iCEnhancer if you played GTA 4 before. But this time, the creators had a completely new vision in mind with this version of iCEnhancer. The goal was to improve the visuals without losing the gritty tone of GTA 4. iCEnhancer 4 brings more natural colors and proper tone mapping to make it stand out from its predecessors. I showcased the mod a couple of years ago during its beta phase, but now that it's fully released, it's the perfect time to revisit it and go a bit deeper than the last time. Let's start by taking a look at the visual touches that makes iCEnhancer 4 stand out. First of all, the mod has its own volumetric fog that rolls around buildings and makes distant details gradually disappear. iCEnhancer 4 also has a custom water shader that takes water quality to a whole new level, making it look extremely realistic. And of course, iCEnhancer 4 has plenty of other things to bring to the table, like high quality reflections, volumetric clouds, and just so much more. Now let's dive into some of the settings and tweaks in iCEnhancer 4 so you can get the visuals just the way you like them. Most of these settings are found in the pause menu under the display tab. Here you can adjust things like color temperature, gamma, and motion blur. You'll notice that these options are sliders instead of simple toggles, which gives you more control to tweak them to your liking. Let's take a closer look at the three of them. Adjusting the color temperature lets you tweak the colors to your preference. Keeping this slider at the center maintains the natural look that iCEnhancer 4 has by default, but sliding this option to the left gives the game a warmer look, while sliding it to the right gives it a cooler look. So it's a balance between yellow and blue, and right down the middle is just plain natural and white. Here's a quick showcase to see the gradual differences in game. Next up is Gamma, which affects how the contrast in game looks. Sliding this option to the left gives a moodier, sort of darker look, while sliding it to the right makes everything a bit brighter and softer. This option comes in handy if you want to fine-tune the visuals to match your display, as not all displays are the same by default. Here's a quick showcase to see the gradual differences in game. Then you have motion blur. Now some people love it for cinematic shots or when they're driving around and want to pan the camera, while others prefer a sharper and rather more defined look. So sliding this option to the right will increase the effect of motion blur, while sliding it to the left reduces the effect. However, keeping it all the way to the left will remove motion blur completely. So if you wanted that sharper and more defined look, then you can just keep this all the way to the left. Let's take a quick glance at how motion blur changes at the minimum, maximum, and midpoint settings of the slider. Now since YouTube tends to compress motion, here's what each motion blur level actually looks like in clear static comparisons. Pretty cool, right? iCEnhancer 4 also has an option for anamorphic lens flare, but it's off by default. Enabling and adjusting this works a little bit differently than the color temperature, gamma, or motion blur sliders. There are two ways to enable and tweak the anamorphic lens flare. The first is through the ENB series UI. Open it by pressing Shift and Enter together. Then scroll down to the bloom category and find a setting called Radius 1. By default, this value is set to 0, which means there's no anamorphic lens flare. Increasing this value above 0 activates the effect, and higher values will continue to make the lens flare more pronounced. There is an alternative method to enabling and adjusting this lens flare, and it's all done in real time inside of a text editor. To do this, go to your game folder and find embseries.ini. Open this file with some kind of text editor. Then scroll down to the bloom category and find radius 1. You can adjust the value to your liking, save the file, go in game, and press the star key, and at that point, your changes will take effect. Here's a quick look at the lens flare as we gradually increase the value from 0 all the way up to 10. Now that I covered the features and settings in iCEnhancer 4, let's take a step back and enjoy the visuals. Here's a cinematic showcase of iCEnhancer 4 across the different times of day and weather patterns. Alright, so now let's talk about performance. The visuals are fantastic, but you're probably wondering how iCEnhancer 4 actually runs. Just to give you an idea of my setup, I'm running an i9-13900KF CPU, an RTX 4080 with 16 gigs of VRAM, 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM, and a 1440p 240Hz display. But the in-game settings matter just as much, so let's take a look at those as well. I keep the game at 1440p and I've got textures, reflections, water, and shadows all on very high, with texture filtering cranked up to the max. For draw distances, I usually stick to these two values right here. Yeah, sure, I could push them higher and stay well above 60 FPS. But you want to know what the problem is by doing that? If you increase these values a lot higher, that could introduce texture pop-ins that naturally occur with GTA 4. You have to remember that we are working with an incompatible PC port. So to keep a good balance on quality and optimization, these are the two best values. The vehicle density runs best under 70 in GTA 4, so I keep it at 50, and that's without any car mods. Shadow density is maxed, and VSync is off since the game's implementation of it is very poor. One important note to keep in mind is that I am using an FPS limiter. I strongly recommend locking the game at 60 FPS. You have to remember that we are working with an incompatible PC port of GTA 4, so going any higher than 60 FPS can cause mission, physics, and animation bugs. If you want more details about that, I do have a video linked in the card at the top right called Did You Know GTA 4 Breaks at High FPS? In that video, I briefly go over a few instances of GTA 4 breaking above 60 FPS. So instead of cranking everything to the absolute max, I am showing you a setup that's more optimized. And let's be honest, it looks great, it runs smoothly, and it avoids the issues that the game is already known for. And as you can see, the game with iCEnhancer 4 runs steadily at 60 FPS. I usually aim for steady frame rates in any game I play, so by my standards, this is absolutely fantastic. Now iCEnhancer 4 already makes GTA 4 look incredible on its own, but with a few extra mods alongside it, you can push the visuals even further. The first mod I recommend is ZolikaPatch, which works perfectly with EMBs. Remember that video I mentioned about GTA 4 struggling at higher frame rates? ZolikaPatch actually fixes a good number of those issues. On top of that, it even adds shadows from vehicles under lampposts, which is a feature that the game never had originally. It looks especially cool when you're driving at night and you're passing all these street lamps. With ZolikaPatch installed, other objects in the game will cast shadows from various light sources. As for vegetation, I am using the upgraded stock vegetation from another mod called Revive. It is a public release that you can grab from the Revive Discord, and honestly, it makes the game pop. Not to mention, I am a huge fan of autumn-looking trees, so this looks absolutely amazing. Next up is HQ Metallic Paint. It's a subtle tweak, but it really improves the look of vehicles by smoothing out the grain on metallic textures. The default grain can be a little bit too harsh, so this makes everything look a lot cleaner. Another mod I always keep installed is the LTA Subway Overhaul. It gives the entire subway system a proper facelift, such as new signage that uses accurate street names, retextured trains based on the real R38s, and updated announcements and train audio. This mod makes the subway feel a lot closer to its real counterpart, that being New York City. Last up is Project 2DFX. The reason I use it is to fix the random light flickers that you sometimes see in GTA 4. It doesn't happen to everybody, but car taillights, headlights, or street lamps will sometimes blink on and off for absolutely no reason, and at times it'll do it really fast. But the good news is that this mod completely sorts that out. And with that, you can enjoy a uniquely definitive experience of GTA 4 with an amazing visuals mod like iCEnhancer 4. I'd like to extend a huge heartfelt thanks to Krystaling and iCELhancer for putting in so much work to make this mod not only look incredible, but also run really smoothly with GTA 4. It's a massive step up from the precedent versions of iCEnhancer. You can download iCEnhancer 4 from the description or directly at iCELhancer.com. If you want, you can also join the iCEnhancer Discord, which is linked in the description as well. It's full of great people and even has a support channel if you need help installing the mod. Speaking of that, a full how to install guide is currently in the works at the time of this video's release. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss it. If it is already out, then it should be shown here on the screen for you to click on. With that said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.